Hello, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the show. My name is Elliot Rodriguez, as you can see right here, and I will be your host for today's second episode of the morning show. Now, the morning show is just for a moment because I'm going to change it as soon as I reveal information about my comics. So, for the rest of this year, I guess we'll just call it the morning show, but the name will change next year. And so today, what I have for you is um, a new, I guess we can call it a new creator on the scene, bringing out two comics into Indiegogo, and we're going to talk with him about his influences, why he got started into comics, and talk about his two comic campaigns, and we're also going to take a look at a major reveal today for art and in the colors department for a pinup that I did for this one of these campaigns. So without further ado, I'm going to bring our guest today, and his name is Paul. So everybody, please welcome Paul. Claps for
Hello,
Paul.
everyone.
Claps for Paul. And thank you very much, Paul, for coming on to the show this morning. And I really appreciate you taking your time. And
Yeah, thanks
yes,
for having me.
so excellent. And if you don't mind, I guess we could just go ahead and get started. What got you into comics? How did you get? How did you find yourself writing for comics? And what can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I've been a comic fan for a long time. My parents, they threw comics at me when I was a kid, and I read them up until I became, about college, and then I had a family, and I had to put comics on hold.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that was back in 2009. I had my first kid, and just wasn't in the budget, so I kind of stopped. And a couple years ago, I picked some comics up, and I did not like what I was reading. I was not
Nice.
interested in what was there. I'd been a lifelong Marvel fan, a little bit of DC, and I wasn't interested. So I kind of looked at my wife one day and said, "What if I wrote one?" And the pandemic hit. We were home. I was off work, and I thought, well, I have lots of
Mm.
free time, and I threw myself in. I found CG, and it kind of took off from there.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a very similar situation to what many of us went through. And during the I'm sorry, if you can tell us what about Marvel is it that you liked? What characters did you like? What writers did you like? Is there any particular influences from those earlier
Sure.
days that you think still resonate now for you?
Well, I was a big X-Men fan. That was my scene for most of my growing up. I got
Awesome.
I remember X-Men 300 with the foil cover and the big team, and it was such a
Nice.
cool thing. And I loved Bishop and Gambit and those guys back in those days, and the big team. And then Jim Lee had his number one come out, and it was just that was the
That
definitive
destroyed
kind of
everything.
comic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so those were huge influence. And then I started reading back issues, got into heavy into Chris Claremont. And
Oh.
so, yeah, so, you try to balance the awesome storytelling without too much exposition. And so that's kind of been the influence for my writing.
Awesome. Yeah, you like just let the action flow and then the characters
Yes.
interact with each other. Is that something that you're also going to bring into your comics?
That's the goal, yeah. As especially the first comic in Fall of Man, I have a bigger cast, and so I'm really trying to get that kind of team feel. Lots of different characters, have lots to bring to the table from each character. Trying to bring these fully fleshed guys out. As the series goes on, the team gets rather large. You can pretty much split into two groups. So I'm kind of trying to bring
Nice.
that dynamic with.
Like something similar to like X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold type thing.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
Okay, cool,
Yep.
cool. That's
Very
awesome.
much.
And let me bring up which you have two comics right now that we're currently working on. One is called Fall of Man, and the other one is called Renegade Travelers. Which one would you like to shine the light on first? Which one do
Um,
you think
let's put up
would
Fall of
be
Man first.
all right? Let me share this with everybody in the chat. Yeah, anybody who's let's see, we have anybody. Yeah, we have Ictus. Hey, how you doing, Ictus? Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Thank you very
thanks
much
for watching.
for stopping by. Hicks Villain, how you doing, man? Good to see you. What's going on? And yeah, we're talking to Paul today from A.G.E Comics, and we're going to take a look at some of his comics. Let me. This is Fall of Man, and here we have Yeah, this is the sign of the mailing list, and see here we have some of this art. I think it's loading.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so tell us about this comic.
All
Paul.
right. So in the shortest pitch I can give you, it's superpowered people fighting giant monsters after the fall of society. All right. There's my elevator pitch for you.
Nice.
So basically, and it's just in the first page or two, it sets the stage. But basically, the Cold War goes hot. We drop some nuclear bombs. People get special powers,
Oh
and
wow.
then a giant solar flare hits the Earth and wipes out technology. And with it, wakes up these giant kaiju. They've apparently, they've been hidden away for all these years, and so they come bursting out. And so, society as we know it's over, and these monsters are reigning supreme. And so these people have to basically huddle together to try to survive the new kind of world. And there's every so often a person born with
The
either
powers.
telepathy or like pheromone powers, and they can actually connect with the kaiju and control them. So we've got guys who can
Ah,
control these monsters, and so people kind of form tribes around people who can control the kaiju, and
oh
they
wow.
try to survive.
Nice. That sounds interesting because I was thinking looking at the art and looking at some of the previous material that you were posting earlier that it was more like superpowered people fighting monsters, but in this case you're saying that you can all some of them can control them. That's
Yeah.
an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, so there's gonna be wild monsters, feral monsters. There's also gonna be ones that are controlled, and if you're unlucky enough to not be in one of these tribes, then you will be fighting these monsters. And so, almost everyone in the story does have superpowers. There's almost no one that doesn't. It just depends on what they are.
Nice.
So some, find tribes together, like, you've got a giant winged kaiju, and so all of the people following them are have wings too. Like they kind of congregate together. Others, like the main characters in here, they're a tribe called the outcasts. They're the unwanted in the wasteland. They're found and kind of collected, and so it's just a hodgepodge of superpowers. Some have super strength. Some have the main character has lightning powers, but they
Yeah,
kind of survive because they've got this monster to protect them.
that's awesome. That is awesome. And hey, Jeremy, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Oh,
Thank you very much for stopping by. We have Lord Crackhead in the house. He's a very, very I don't know, it's like the cornerstone of CG
yep.
and
I like
his
your show.
presence is his blessing. Yeah, yeah. His presence and his blessing in the channel can really helps, and he's a big he's a big I don't know how would I say it. Like he's just a big supporter, just in general of people in CG, and is glad to have him here. Glad to have him. And yeah, yeah. So for this, I did I'll show the I'll show the people also. I did artwork for this. Um, if I can find it. Uh,
Yeah, so it looks
um,
fantastic. What you're about to put up.
yeah, I'm gonna thank you. I did this art piece for Fall of Man not too long ago. I think it must have been maybe a few weeks ago.
Yep.
No, a few days ago. And let's take a look. And here we have yeah, Paul sent me the images of the monsters of the kaiju's, and then sent me a character sheets of this of the characters in the comic. And wait, sorry, what am I doing?
Also
And
a great campaign you should back.
yeah, also a killer making a cameo appearance on today's show.
Yep.
But yes, and this is the piece that I did for Fall of Man. We have three of the characters here taking on this kaiju, and these are characters that you're going to see in the book. And I guess we can start at the top here with this man here shooting the electrical beams. Who is he, Paul?
So this guy's name is Kalat, and he is the main hero. He's going to be the one that's kind of following. He's kind of the second in command behind the chief who can control the kaiju. He leads what I call the strike force that goes out into the wasteland. It's his job to find those guys who are being left behind or being attacked, and kind of bring them into the tribe. And so yeah, he's got electricity powers. He's very very powerful. A lot of times when I write stories, I don't usually have a very powerful main character. I like having the supporting cast be more powerful and kind of
Mm-hmm.
have main character, but not this time. He's probably the strongest in the tribe. So yeah, he's the military leader, the one they kind of look up to, the one that kind of keeps the day to day stuff running, and he can
Nice.
go out there and hold his own.
Nice. So he's got military background and he's got like powers with electricity. Like, does he generate it like Electro, or is that just something that he manipulates? Or
Yeah, so he can generate it, and then he can also bring it down from the skies. So
nice,
depending on what he's doing, if he needs to fight off somebody attacking, he can shoot it. Otherwise, if he's fighting a monster, he brings it down on top of him. So
nice,
yeah.
cool. And then the second character that we got here, can you tell us about him?
Yeah, so this guy, his name is Ash, and he's
Ash.
yep, he's made of rock and stone. He was more mutated. His family's more mutated by the bombs dropping. You'll see some guys look, normal like Kalat. Others have physical changes, and he's one of them. So he'll be, solid black brown. He's got like magma flowing through him, and he shoots magma. He's also a jokester. He makes a lot of jokes because
Nice.
growing up, he actually was in the slave pits for entertainment. People would pick up random superpowers, particularly people who looked more, different. They'd throw him in the pits to fight these little kaiju for entertainment. And so that was kind of his growing up. And he eventually escapes. And so he kind of deflects a lot of life with a bunch of jokes.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it sounds somebody I'd like to. I'd be interested in because it's something that I do also. That's awesome. And then this character, this winged character,
Yeah. So this guy's name is Exos, and
Exos.
you'll find out more of his background in issue 2, actually. But he's from another tribe, and he was cast out. He's had a rough run of it. He is when he shows up to the tribe, he's scarred and all kinds of messed up because he's had a tough time in the wasteland. But he's really super quiet. He's very reserved. He's best friends with the guy up top there, Kalat. He's kind of his go-to guy for advice.
Okay,
But you'll see throughout the comic, he never says more than 5 words at any one time. He's very quiet, very reserved, but he's also the voice of reason.
nice. And he's from. Is this like two tribes like getting together to take down this one monster?
No. He's actually he'll be actually exiled from his tribe. That's what most of these guys' backgrounds
Ah,
will
okay.
be. Like I said, Ash up there, he was found out in the wasteland from the slave pits. Kalat was found as a baby in the wasteland. There was a dead traveler, and he was the baby in the arms. Exos
Nice.
comes as an adult, because he was trying to survive on his own. There's another character named Vlastia, super strength. He was exiled as a failure from his group. A bunch of them are rescued from slavery or whatever, and so that's why they don't have their tribe isn't like most other tribes. Most others have other reasons why they came together. But these guys are kind of the leftovers.
The leftover. And Kalat brings them together, or the chief of Kalat's tribe.
The chief started it because he's been around since the fall of society. He was actually in the military when the bombs are dropping, and now he's about 100. It's about 90 years later. So he's kind of slowly over time forged this tribe to
Nice.
bring these people together and give them a safe haven.
Nice. And Kalat, I would assume, is like the general of this new tribe, and he's making sure that all these guys
Yeah.
get situated in. Oh, nice. Sounds great. I like the story. That's really good. And Jeremy says he's got to head back to work, unfortunately, but I'll definitely be watching the replay. Guys, have a good one and keep killing it. Yeah, thank you very much,
Yeah,
Jeremy, for
thanks.
stopping by. We appreciate your support in any shape, way, or form, and every shape, way, or form. And Apex, how you doing, Apex? Good to see you, man. And he says hello to everybody. Awesome, that's good. And so yeah, so this is the piece, and this kaiju, the big monster in the background. I've seen. Well, we have him here from this piece, and we also see him in the previous on the actual campaign. Is this monster like just one that's out in the wild, or is this being controlled by another tribe?
Yeah, so he's gonna make sporadic appearances. He's a wild one. He's actually the one who's going to be attacking the chief when he's young. Society's gonna be falling. He'll pop up in different times throughout the series, but
Nice.
he's not gonna be one of the controlled ones.
He's
Yeah,
not
there.
okay.
So there he is. You can see that's kind of society falling. As you can see, he's destroying what we had. As if society wasn't already on the brink, with these superpowers exploding, and then the lights going out. right? Turn the lights off for
Exactly.
3 days and see how long society lasts, right? And society,
Yeah,
you know, just
definitely.
it's just done. So then you got this rampaging monster, um, and yeah, so um, the controlled ones haven't showed up yet, and what I've
Okay.
posted. So
And the control ones, I'm assuming they'll be able to put up a fight with this guy, with this big guy, because this
yeah,
is very impressive.
yep. So
Okay.
yeah, actually, this actually, if you scroll down a little bit, here's going to be a wild one that shows up. Here's another one hanging out in the wild, and
This
the
one right here on the
next,
right.
yep. So that's the one
Okay.
that kind of busts in on the tribe at the opening of the issue, and the chief is going to call in their protector, and there's going to be a big kaiju fight, you know, big splash of
Nice.
kaiju fighting. So
Sweet.
yeah,
Kaiju fighting a la King Kong and Godzilla, like that.
it's going to be like that. Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
with a mix of
That's
superpowers, because
awesome.
you know what wouldn't be more fun than seeing people throw magma and lightning and stuff in between.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I love that.
You ever watch King
I
Kong and
like.
Godzilla? You know, like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
watch it
yeah,
and Godzilla's got like an entire military behind him and they can't do anything. But King Kong's got
yeah.
like three guys helping him, right? Like a hacker and two
Exactly.
kids. And you're like, well, what are they gonna do? Well, in this
Exactly.
world, you know, you've got people who've got superpowers who actually can help and turn the tide.
Can influence and then turn the tide of the fight. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some more people here in the chat. We got Matt Barr. How you doing, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you very much for stopping by. Yeah, legendary Matt Barr. He does really good art, excellent artwork. And Hicks Villain saying hello. Matt saying hola to everybody. Hola, mi amigos. And yeah, don't get me started on the Spanish because I can talk it. but but yeah, and yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, so you have these two kaiju's going at it, going against each other, and yeah, this looks great. I'm a big fan, and I've been a big fan of King Kong and that type of thing. So seeing monsters and then monsters and superheroes, what's not to love? You know, so
Yeah. I've never seen anybody have superheroes with giant monsters. I thought, well, why not? So
yeah, that's a great mix. Yeah, why not? Yeah, sounds great. Makes it's a no brainer. No? And so yeah, so everybody who's interested and curious, the mailing list is live, so you can sign up for this right now, and you can be one of the first to get your secret your discount here, at launch. I'll be sure to have the links for this in the description in case I don't already have it. I should have it. Go ahead and copy this here. But yeah, so you can sign up for this, and you'll also be able to see my art, which is always humbling.
actually,
Uh,
yeah, and I think I told you
uh,
the pinup that you've done is going to be an alternate cover. So because I just like it too much, I was going to do it as a pinup, and it'll be available as a
oh
pinup too.
man,
But it's also going to be an alternate cover. So
and
um,
Paul's gonna make me blush on the
yep.
show.
Well, throw it up there again. You can see, everybody saw
Yeah,
how good it was.
yeah, thanks, man. But yeah, so there's let me see if I can find it again. So yeah, so you can see yeah, so this is the artwork in question,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to see that's one of the alternate covers. Wow, that's awesome. We got a lot more people in the chat. Let's see. Leandra, how you doing? What's going on? Start the party. Yeah, we're waiting for you to bring the Patron, man. At 9 in the morning. No, I'm sorry, at 11 in the morning, waiting for you to get the drinks. Um, hey, Rob Wilson, how you doing? Good morning. What's going on? Thank you very much for showing up, stopping by. Joe, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Yeah, man, good to see you, man. Yeah, there's a lot of great people in the chat today. And we got the legendary Rick Saylor. How you doing, Rick? What's going
It's
on?
it's fun seeing all these names I recognize.
Yeah,
I'm not very good at this YouTube thing. I don't even go by the same name in the chat. Like I probably interacted with some of you, but my name in the chat is Colin Mazzini, and it was some stupid old name from a long time ago. So
Colin.
like
Oh yeah,
I talk like Rick Saylor I see all the time on Bancraft show and you know, interact occasionally. But I'm also just more of a lurker. But yeah,
yeah,
got to get
yeah.
better at
Same
this
here.
YouTube thing.
Oh yeah, yes, it's a learning curve because we have to it's adapting to it. But over time, you'll get more used to it. Seeing people show up. My mouse is acting up. All right, so yeah, we also got Peter. What's going on, Peter? Hell, man, legendary comic inker. Peter is an excellent inker. Um, Everybody saying hi to each other.
That's the one great thing about CG that I've noticed. It's just everybody says hi. Everybody welcomes them in. Like there's just no like exclusion. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been exposed to CG for about a year and a half. And yeah, it's been great. It's been just an incredible experience. My personal what I like about it is the competitiveness and because there's a lot of great talent in CG and for artists and for writers also. Know like the thing is trying to like get one up on the other person,
Yeah.
in the sense of like just rivalry and competitiveness. You want the best out of yourself, to the table to bring to
Yeah.
the table, and so CG it motivates that and encourages that, and it wants everybody to be better, to bring their A game. And when people do good art, good writing, good books, then we see it. No, we see it, we applaud it, and we're very happy for it. And yeah, so for example, in Paul's case, to everybody that's watching, he's been in the chats. He's been showing up recently to the YouTube channels, and so we are welcoming him. My tongue tied. We're welcoming him into the circle, and yeah, so please be sure to check out Paul more frequently. We're going to see. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. Show your support. Um, and yeah, I mean, my way of supporting is trying to give you what little platform I have, so you can show up and tell us everything that you have about your comics. So
Yeah.
it's awesome, and yeah, people are coming out in full force. Look at this. I got Frog G. What's going on, Frog G? Good to see you, man.
Yeah. Smash
And
the like button.
yeah, that's right. That's true. I feel like I feel that Elliot's channel. Yes, yeah, that would be. Yeah, thank you very much, Apex. He says, I feel that Elliot's channel is growing. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Yes, I try my best to get some videos on a frequent basis. Yes, we got everybody saying hi, and and yeah, so yeah, Rick's got it. He says we're the nicest hate group.
I believe we are a hat
That's
group.
definitely a hat group. Yeah, I need to get my hat. Yeah,
I came
where's
prepared.
Odin? Yeah, they sure did. And Odin says, "Good morning, Alien Paul. Everyone chatting. What's going on? Odin, how you doing? Leandro, what's going on? We got Dean from Comics Made. How you doing? It's 1 a.m. here, so I should not be awake. Thank you very much for stopping by, Dean. Good to see you, man. Thank you.
Now you know how we feel here over on the other side whenever you guys have shows on in Australia. We're it's 3 a.m. I better go to
Yeah.
bed.
Oh man, Fried G's doing something backwards.
Well,
Oh,
it's upside down for Australia, right? Isn't it?
there you go. And yeah, everybody's going crazy in the chats. How you guys doing? What's going on? Let's see, I'm at work. Just wanted to pop in and say, yeah, thank you very much, Joe. Thank you. Yeah, I know I get everybody. I got this early morning schedule, and yeah, it's when everybody's working. So yeah, be sure to catch us in the
Yeah.
replay. But yeah, and so let's continue. Um, let's continue, Paul, and let's take a look at your second campaign.
Sure.
Let's take a look at the second one because Paul's not. He doesn't have just one. He's got two comics that he's going to work on soon. And let's take a look at the second one. I think the second one is a little bit um, has been cooking a little bit longer than Fall of Man, and this is
Yep.
called Renegade Travelers. And what can you tell us about this?
All right, so this one hopefully will feel very different. If that one is kind of giant monsters, a little bit of fantasy, this one's kind of a hard sci-fi. It's set in the near future, and there are people who have powers. But the twist on this one is eventually, if you use your powers enough, it kills you. And so, to be these heroes, you have to decide every time I use my powers, is it worth it? Because it's basically playing Russian roulette with your powers. So,
Exactly.
like just taking, for example, one character has ice, right? And so they can, they can shoot ice, they can use everything, but eventually your body snaps and then it completely freezes you and you just shatter into pieces. So there's no rhyme or reason. There's no like how many uses. It's just every time could be your last. Um, and
Wow.
or like you're a flyer, but instead of like having wings like in the last one, they fly more like cannonball, right? There's that X-Men
Mm-hmm.
influence. And one day you just you lose your protective barrier and you just fall out of the sky and crash into a building and it's over, right? So you never know when it's going to happen. Well, in this world, if you want to use your superpowers, you become a cop. Basically, there's a whole division of cops, and not everybody has powers. Unlike the other one, only a select few have powers. In fact, you find out in the past it was kind of an accident,
Mm-hmm.
and so the main character is what we call a traveler, and his power is he can go to alternate universes, um, and it's
Is this
illegal.
him here?
No, actually, it's the guy down. If you keep going, it's the guy looking under the sheet. His name is
This guy.
Jin.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And he, like I said, his power is he can travel to alternate universes. There's parallel worlds. But to get there is, oh yeah, I'll get there in just a second about
Yeah, that's a
A.G.E.
good question. Yeah.
So his power is he can so he travels, but to get there you have to go through this like in between universe that's kind of like if you could imagine like Limbo from X-Men, maybe mixed with like if you've ever read Animal Man, where he goes to the red and it's like crazy and psychotic, and basically half the people who jump there go insane. They snap, they go crazy, and so what happens is these people who travel alternate worlds they go crazy and then they start traveling illegally. So it's his job to track these guys down. All right.
Oh
So
wow.
so you've got these superpowered villains in the main world, but then there's also these guys who jump between worlds, and so he's kind of like a cop bounty hunter to track them down. And his partner is the guy up top who can turn to metal. So he's got this kind of heavy hitter with him to go with him, but he travels between the worlds. And
This guy here is the one that turns in the middle.
no, keep going up at the very
So
top. The very very top there, the kind of background. So that guy you
this
can see
guy.
he's
Okay.
turning to
Yeah.
metal.
Okay, I got you.
So
That's his partner. You said.
yep.
Okay.
And so these two are kind of their job is to track these guys down. And so it turns out that um, there's a renegade traveler, and he's kind of putting together a team to try to kind of take down the government. They live in kind of an alternate DC where the government is. It's called Terminus City, and he's kind of trying to take them down and expose them. The government's corrupt and terrible. That you don't
Mm-hmm.
know that really in the story. It doesn't play a big role, but he thinks they are, and so he's trying to stop. And um, you're going to see some world hopping. I do want to make a note though in this world, it's not going to be an excuse to like I killed that character and then you can bring them back because it's an alternate version. That doesn't happen. It's illegal in that world. You don't do that. When the character dies in the comic, they're gone.
They're gone for good.
They're permanently
Eh,
gone. You won't ever see another version come back. And so every one of them has a story of someone they lost. Oh my dad died in service, or oh my partner was killed. And
When you
nobody is
say
safe.
when
Sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry. When you say new world, you're not referring to like a new dimension, but you're referring more to like a different planet.
No,
Or
sorry, a different dimension. Yeah, sorry, a parallel Earth.
okay,
Um,
okay.
yep.
So there's
So
hopping between one universe to the other, and then in between that hop, they can go mad.
yes, yep.
Okay,
So yep.
okay.
Like one of the ones that they travel to. So the guy the bad guy, he's trying to fix the powers problem. He's trying to find a cure to their powers killing them. So he travels to this alternate world that's kind of lagging behind where they are technologically, and he goes back to kind of where he thinks the source of where they got their powers are from on this parallel world. He's trying to find it, but it's set basically in like a 1900s alternate world where
Hmm,
China colonized America, and so it's actually it's
that's crazy.
like an Asian America, and they're getting into a world war against the African kingdoms of like Ghana and things that had survived in an alternate world, and so like there's this world war between these completely different powers, and so they're jumping between it. So there's a scene where the main character is going to fight an axe gang, like just random things like that can happen, all in the pursuit of trying to solve this. The worlds are completely different. You never know what you're going to get. And yeah,
That's awesome.
and then as you move in you realize this is deeper than just one guy. This is deeper than just this guy trying to solve powers. There's this lurking threat to not only their world but the multiverse in general, that gets bigger as the series goes on. This is going to be a three-parter. It's a trilogy of graphic novels.
That sounds great, and yeah, that sounds great, man. And let's continue with your idea that you're just sharing, and let's look at the question that Leandro posted earlier. Is this what AGE is about? Like, is this story of renegade travelers? Is this tied in together with Fall of Man? Is there something connected there,
So
or
no, not really. This was interestingly enough, Renegade Travelers was supposed to be my universe, right? And I was going to
okay?
have lots of build off series. Like I said, it's a 3 series, and then I was going to build more. I was going to have um, actually one of the main characters introduced in issue 2. I was going to have her go on a space adventure to lean more into sci-fi, and then I was going to go back in time and tell a story. So I'm going to build a universe out of this one.
Hmm.
Fall of Man happened as a separate world. That's a
Okay,
completely different. But if you guys love him, I mean, this guy can travel the multiverse. He could run into the characters of Fall of Man.
that would be
There,
crazy.
there, there is
Yeah,
a crossover potential
yeah.
just because of the basis of the story. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
because if he's hopping into worlds, he could probably hop into the world of Fall of Man. That would
yeah.
be crazy.
So AGE actually, if I can take a second to
Yeah, go
be a
ahead.
little
Yeah.
more serious. So one of the things that I told you on Twitter, but so I have a lot of kids, right? I have 6 children. All right, yeah, 6, right? And I know a lot of people look at me crazy. Well, actually, the first thing that happens is I tell them I have that many kids, and then I tell them I don't drink caffeine, so they assume I'm Mormon, but I'm not. Just I just my wife and I decided I'm a big family. Well, uh, sadly enough, we also had several miscarriages. Right, we actually should
Oh,
have 10, but that's what AGE is about. It's actually a way to honor the kids that aren't here. So it's actually the initials of my children that aren't here. So it's Aaron and Grace Evelyn. So I thought it was a nice title. It was kind of a catchy comic thing, but it was also a way to honor them. So
wow.
that's what that is. But not to bring the mood
So,
down. I know some people get uncomfortable talking about it, but that's what it is, and that's why
so
it's important.
no. No. I would like to highlight that. I'm sorry. I was sending the link in the chat while you were saying that, but you're saying that you're naming the company AGE in honor of your children that you've lost.
Yes.
Oh
Yep.
wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's an excellent. That's excellent. Yeah, that's great. And
So
yeah, so that's AGE.
yep.
Um yeah, so it has nothing, not in that sense. It's not connected to the stories, but just to a more
Nope.
personal situation.
Yep.
All right, good, excellent.
So
And yeah, just before I forget, I want to go ahead and send the other link also
sure.
for Fall of Man. The link is um, uh, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Apex. It's a great tribute to your children. Yeah,
Thank
really
you.
nice. That's awesome.
No.
That's awesome. And my sister's in the chat. Hey, my sister's
It's
gonna
fun.
show up, then my mom, then my cousins, and everybody's gonna show up.
It's nice when you
And
have the family support.
yeah, definitely, yeah. And yeah, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't actually for my sister and my mom, because they hooked it up with this contraption here, and then I'm able to record more videos as I had wanted for so long.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's so supportive, it's so great. And then here, I think, don't know if the next power usage means could meet their demise. Poor heroes. All he wanted to do was fly up to a building to save a lady in distress. He died for the nookie.
And I know it's a joke, but that's like one thing that you really got to think about. Like, would you really be a hero if the next time you use it could be your last, right? Like, I feel like
Yeah,
modern superhero comics have lost all stakes because the hero is going to survive, and if
yeah,
they do die, they're going to be back in 6 months. Or if you've been following modern X-Men, they just 3D print a new one. There's
exactly.
zero stakes, but every time you use your power, and these guys still get up every day and they go use them. So
Yeah, and speaking of that, because that's also something that's fascinated me also about comics, and something that in my own comic I would like to also change, similar to what you're doing. Is there a particular story or a particular I don't know, yeah, any particular story, whether it be in comics or movies or video games, that made you think about that trope where the hero never dies, or is there anything that influenced you to change
I
or to want to change that?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like in modern comics, that's oh, thank you. Um, Yeah, I think it's just been so prevalent. Like when Superman died one of the first times back in '93 or whatever, that was like an event because you're like, oh, he might actually be dead. Obviously, they brought him back, but that was, it was different. And
Mm.
then as you get, past 2000, it's just every comic, they die, and you're like, okay, well, let's take bets. How long? Is it going to be more than 6 months this time before they come back? And now they've kind of built that in. I remember back in the '90s, they had Age of Apocalypse, which was one of my favorite
Yeah,
series, and there were real
yeah, yeah.
stakes because the heroes died. Like there was no coming back, and they knew they were facing these impossible odds. And it made them seem more heroic, I guess, because they knew, there was no plot armor. You knew they weren't going to make it, and
Exactly.
they stood their ground anyway, and they fell, but for something greater. And that's what these heroes are doing. There's just these genuine heroes. So often too in media lately we have these jaded, cynical heroes who are, oh well,
Mm.
I have to be just as bad as them, or oh I can, I have to, my morals have to go. No, these guys are just genuinely good, and I mean they have their problems. They're not perfect, of course, but they make the choice to do it and to sacrifice if necessary.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what. Yeah, that's exactly what we need, and I'm glad that you're bringing that to the story. Because yeah, I had that qualm also with stories and comics because characters die. I mean, they die, they come back, and then what they died for means absolutely nothing because they do it again tomorrow,
Yep.
and so yeah, it takes away from that, and that's also something that I'm trying to do, or that I'm aiming to do in my comic also. And I don't know how you're going about it, but I would like to get it to the point where like the reader gets involved with a particular character, and then that
Mm.
character dies. Because
Yeah.
I think well, I mean not dies just for the sake of dying, but dies in the
Yeah.
service of the story, and I think that just gives it a more I think the word would be gravitas, or just a more oomph to the story, to know that there was a sacrifice, somebody didn't make it, somebody did die, and then they have to die for something that's later going to be
Yeah.
honored and revered, and and
So
yeah, so
like
that,
in
go ahead, bro.
my Renegade Travelers on page 5 or something, you get introduced to his partner. He's actually in a park, and standing there as a statue, and it's a tribute to his dad. His dad had used his powers too much, and he froze in his steel form, and they actually just put him in a statue, and he's sitting there
Wow.
going like, it's been 5 years. Do people even remember the sacrifice we've given? He
Yeah,
kind of has
yeah.
this moral question about, is what we're doing worth it? And
Oh, that's
um,
awesome. Oh
so
man, you're bringing a lot of heavy things to that. That's awesome. Oh, I love that. That's great. Yeah, because that puts the character also into doubting, or starting to doubt if that's the case, no, about if they're doing the right thing, and yeah, that puts a lot of questions up on the table, which is great.
but at the
That's
same
awesome.
time, then you get fun adventure where you go out and
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of fighting. There's a lot of pages of action. It's not all just sitting around talking and not just
exactly.
feelings. I know
Yeah.
that's a big complaint too, is that you read a 20-page comic and 19 of it's feelings and there's one punch thrown. There's gonna be a lot of action. There's gonna be a lot of fighting, and it's kind of like a
Yes,
crescendo as the series goes on. There's more and more fighting. You're still gonna get the
exactly.
story in between, but it's gonna get bigger and bigger as it goes.
That's
And
awesome.
this and this comic's a lot longer. This comic's going to be 52 pages. This is an actual graphic novel. Fall of Man is going to be a short 25. The goal is the Renegade Travelers is going to be kind of a once a year release, maybe sooner if I can get it. But that's kind of the Fall of Man. If me and the artist can kind of get in a rotation, I'm hoping every couple months. I'm hoping 3, 4, 5 a year. So that
Nice.
the first arc is 6 issues for Fall of Man, and I really want to get it out quickly. I don't want you to wait a year and a half, 2 years to get the resolution. I
Exactly.
want it to be quick so that you can stay in the story and you can enjoy it. And I've got lots of plans for it. So
So Fall of Man is going to be more like an ongoing series, and then Renegade is
yes,
going to be like a more contained.
yes.
You said
So
you said 54 just for that one story, or you said I think you have
yeah,
three
so it's
other.
just it's 52 pages for the first graphic novel, and
Okay,
each
and
each
then
of the 3 volumes are going to be in that
about
range.
50. Okay,
I've written the second issue, and it's I think 54. I haven't written the third one yet, and depending on how much I want to put and how much action, it might get longer. Um,
nice.
Fall of Man, every issue is going to be 25, except I did make issue 6. I already wrote through issue 6
Okay,
longer. I wanted to write it ahead of time, and I spent a lot of time writing because I wanted to make it connect. I want like, oh, in issue 1, you drop this, and then when you're reading issue 5, 6, you're like, oh, that's what that was referencing. Like there's payoff later, and
Okay.
so
Oh, that's
I wrote the
awesome.
first arc kind of as a whole, so you can have those kind of drop throughout and sync it better. Because the one thing that also about modern comics is there's just no continuity. There's no connection. Like a new writer comes in with a new idea and they just throw everything out the window. And I want,
Yeah,
whether you're reading issue 3 or you're reading issue 50, I want it to all be like that's still
makes
within line.
sense.
That's within the rules. It's the same characters. They
Mm.
act the same. Those payoffs come later. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a one big annoyance, because also from my end, because I have a very similar story to yours in that I came back to comics after a long hiatus, like about 10, 15 year absence. And when I came back, our like the first stories that came up, like Spider-Man, X-Men, Spawn, I wanted like Darkness, get back into these comics. And then when I looked at what was the latest issue, it's like it's like this is I came across the new 52. They had discarded everything previous, started
yep,
everything again. And then they had the Ultimate Spider-Man where they discarded everything before. They changed Green Goblin, they changed Doc Ock. There's Superior Spider-Man. I was like, this is too much. No, it's just too
yes,
much craziness. I don't know for what sake. I don't know if it's to like get new readers or something. But in their act of bringing in new readers, they're shunning away all of the old ones. And so
yes.
that's great that consistency can still be there. And
and and back to the question about the
yeah,
universe. So Renegade Travelers itself is a 3 issue contained graphic novel, so you can have a whole story. But like I said, I am going to build off of that. I am going to keep the world going. Like I wrote an offshoot. One of the cops goes crazy after being in the madness, and he basically wants to get
wow,
back to it. So he's trying to find a way. He's a bad guy at that point, and so he wants to get back to it, and he ends up with a superpowered mob actually, and the mob betrays him. So the whole thing is kind of this crazy guy
oh
going
wow,
on revenge on the mob, and that's kind of an offshoot of that world. So you're going
that
to
could
flesh out the
wow,
characters more. You're going to see some of the side characters, and so characters might get their own issue. So that universe will be built out. It won't be just a kind of one and done trilogy.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome to leave the room there for a lot more to explore.
And
And
I think that's a better way to bring in readers than just making new number ones all the time.
exactly, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, exactly. You can explore like every corner of the universe you're creating, and then you can make new interesting characters. And then yeah, like the
and
bad guy you're describing now seems really interesting. What the consequences could be of that space in between worlds. And yeah, that
yes,
sounds great. Yeah, that sounds great. That's a lot of creativity on your end to do that stuff, which is
thank you.
awesome. We need more of that. And yeah, Apex says there's at least 12 people in the chat. Let's share. Yeah, let's share it out, please. And then Jeremy says, whoa, everyone showed up. Awesome. This is why I love CG. This is why I love CG. Also, hail chat. Definitely give Elliot a sub and a like. He's a great upcoming talent. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I really appreciate that. And we have CGWF, Bow Champion DWAG. Let's get that rumor going and force the Bow Championship belt into existence. Do
Good
you
luck.
watch the CGWF?
I am familiar. Yep. Yeah, I
Oh man,
catch it
that's
every once in a
awesome.
while.
That's like the coolest thing I think I've seen come out of CG like
Yeah.
and recently because I love that. I love that show. Breaking Rad. Everybody who's in the chat, please sub to that show, to that channel, and there's some great guys over there. I love everything they're doing with that. Digging the concept art, interdimensional stories, always intrigue me. Yeah, it
Thank you.
sounds
Thank
great.
you.
It sounds great.
Um, yeah, unfortunately for a lot of these shows, I can't catch them live because I'm either at work, like I am now,
Yeah,
or my kids. Like once I get home at 5 o'clock, I'm busy till 10, 11 o'clock. So, um, yeah,
yeah. I have that same situation. And Ragnarok says, "Hi, Elliot's mom." No, it's not my mom. It's this lady here. It's my sister. It's my sister.
do you guys live close to by each other? Do you get to
No,
spend time
no.
together?
I live in South America, and she's in the States. She's in
Oh, okay.
North Carolina, in Charlotte, and
Oh, so long. That's long distance. That's rough.
yes, yeah, it's difficult, but it's all right. I don't like her that much. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But it says no one. Yeah, this is talking about. It says, look, man, when you take the opportunity and dedicate something meaningful as you did to your children, that's admirable and personal to you. No one can take that away. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, that's good. Because you're investing in yourself also at the end of the day, and that's also really good.
Yeah. Well, and it's
That's
not
really
like
good.
it's a thing that I'm trying to like oh, look at this, or like I'm trying to have a hook or anything. It's just it is meaningful to me, but it also
Yeah,
does mean I really want this to succeed. I really do want this kind of legacy. And we've talked about it with our other children, and this is a thing for them. This is a thing for my children here and my children not here.
yeah,
So I want it to be a good thing for them.
that's awesome, man. And then Landra says it can also give the ice frozen character who's frozen and never broke a cool arc of him unfreezing and him never knowing if his powers will come back. He misses the ability to help. Boom! I have PayPal.
So
And for all the ideas he's giving. Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. So actually, the chief of the police district that Jen works at, he's a retired flyer. He said one day he was flying, it felt a little weird, and he just stopped. And so he's not using his powers anymore, and
Oh
he
wow.
doesn't know if the next flight will kill him or not. But so he's just kind of retired. And so that's what they kind of have to make the choice is like one day, like, am I getting too old? And sometimes your powers break when you're 50.
Mm.
Sometimes they break when you're 17.
And
So he took that. He saw the writing on the wall. Yeah.
do they break because of age or because just at any
Nope.
given time?
It's so what ended up happening, you find out, is that just set in an alternate world of during World War One, actually, there was a
Hmm.
scientist who was trying to create a super poisonous gas, and he drops it on the troops, and for most of them it kills them immediately. But there are a few guys just standing there in the gas, and they're like looking around, they can't figure out what's happening, and they're like, well, some people were immune to the gas. And then there's a scene where one of the guys just ignites into flames and like kills his whole
Oh
unit,
wow.
and it's like it says that's where we get the powers from. It unlocked the recessive gene inside of some people to give them power, so it kills almost everybody, but these small percentage of the population, that's where the powers
Nice.
come from. So it comes from this broken gas trying to kill it. So that's why the powers break them. It's just one day your body decides. It doesn't, age, usage doesn't matter. It's just
It
spin the
just
wheel and see what happens.
oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Odin says, "Love the vision you have for these separate, though. Do not acknowledge Rasputin hover over the back."
Okay, so I'm a teacher, right? I teach history and political science at a community college, and I teach Russian history. And one day I was telling my students, this was back when I shared an office with somebody. I said, I'd really like a picture of Rasputin to scare my office mate, and if you give it to me, I'll do it. So the next day I showed up to class, and they gave me this life-size cardboard cutout of Rasputin. And
Nice.
so I kept my end of the promise. I did, in fact, scare my office mate. So the next year I was telling my students that I was making a joke about it, and one student in the front goes, "Do you need another?" And I said, "No, no, I don't." And I came to class the next day, and I had an 8 foot tall shirtless Putin riding on a horse. So the next year, I made the
Nice.
joke. I said, "I got these life size cardboard cutouts. I don't need another one, but if I get a third one, it'll be the weirdest wise man setup at Christmas ever. My wife's not going to know what to do with it." So the next day, I come to class and I have a life size cardboard cutout of Stalin. So I've actually got 3 of these.
Oh,
The other 2 are too big to fit in here, but yeah. So he's there, and he got a general hat from a student who decided he needed to
nice.
dress up. So my students are, yeah, they're something.
Yeah, they're great. That's awesome. And so I'm assuming you teach history.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
And so we saw that one.
Yep.
It
Thank
says
you, by the way.
Leonard says, yeah. All right, yeah, yeah, to the chat, yeah,
Yep.
definitely. And Landra says, I seriously like the idea. Hope for much success your way. Yes, I
Thank
do
you.
also.
Thank you.
Um, and Peter says it's always about finding the time, even if you do this full time.
Yep.
That is true. And my sister just logged off. just, she's just kidding.
Yep.
And yeah, I love my sister. She's cool. She's great people. And
Yep. So
it
I have.
says, hail to the sister. Excited to see your brother's work. Good time. Thank you. And also one more question that I had, how was your writing process? How would you describe yourself as a writer? Because I've heard the term plotter, and I've also heard the term uh, like I'm sorry, but the idea is that one likes to plan out everything, and the other one just likes to go with the flow and see what happens. How would you describe yourself in that case?
Sure. So generally, what I start with is thank you.
Yeah.
So generally, I kind of have an idea pop in my head, just a random idea, and I kind of kick it around for a little bit, and then I write an outline. So I kind of think like, okay, where do I want the story to go? And then I flesh out the outline more, kind of putting in the details, and then I start writing the pages. So I generally have an idea of where the comic is going before I write any actual pages. So, um,
Including the ending and everything like that.
yeah, usually I've got the ending worked out before I actually start writing. and it changes. Like I'll kind of go with my first idea. It'll be a rough draft, and I'll say, "Oh, this is how it should end." And then I'm writing. I get 15 pages in. I go, "That's not where this story is going." So I kind of organically react to, like, as I'm writing, like
Yeah.
uh like in Fall of Man, I have this way later in the series. I have this series where they're riding on this like cart, and they see these shady looking guys in the rocks ahead or whatever. And my original idea was, oh well, they'll go in there and they'll get attacked. And then I thought, like, what person would react that way? If you know you're in a wasteland and you know it's going to be just, a terrible thing and nothing good ever happens, why would you
Mhm.
go down that dark road? So instead, I just instead write for Ash. I go, yeah, I'm not going down there. We're gonna all get killed. And I turn and I change the story. So like as I'm writing, I kind of organically respond to what I think the characters would do in that situation.
Wow. Okay, cool. And to do that, do you write like character bios of all of your characters beforehand to kind of get into the mind of what decisions they would make in those cases?
Yeah, yeah. So I try to have as fully a fleshed out idea of a character as I can. I'm old school, so like I actually got like a sketch pad I write in, and I actually like
Yeah,
write
yeah,
it, and then I transfer it to digital. Um, but so yeah, I'll take a page and I'll write character, and I'll say powers, name, age,
yeah,
family, and then start writing some of their backstory, and then kind of their demeanor, because I kind of want, when I'm writing the character, like for Exos, if he's going to only say 5 words at a time, I want him to respond correctly. I want him to be that, always, what's the logical thing? What's the source of reason? And just very blunt. Whereas Ash is the jokester, and so he's going to figure out what jokes he can make. So yeah, those two guys there. So the guy with the wings, he's going to walk up, and you're going to have this long conversation, and he's going to go, "No, that's bad," and walk away, and that's going to be, like, that's his character. I don't want to write like I'm writing Ash. So, but then Ash would walk up and be like, "Yeah, you guys are fighting. While mom and dad's fighting, I'm gonna go fish."
hang
What?
out
Like
somewhere
some
else.
just completely
Yeah,
different character.
that's
So
awesome. That's nice. Nice. I like that. I really enjoy that. And yeah. So one thing also that I had planned for this stream was to also reveal the colors to this piece. If it's okay with you, can we
yes,
show the people
yes,
that?
please.
So for the 9 people that are still with us, you guys get to see all the big awesome reveal. And what I'm going to show you now is the colors that came in recently for this pinup that I was showing you earlier. And so let's take a look at that without any further ado. And bam, let's just soak that in for a minute. Here are the colors. Here are the colors for the Fall of Man pinup that I did,
Yeah.
which will be a variant cover. And Genuine Comics is here. Hello, Dave. What's going on? Good to see you, man. And yeah, here we're talking about Fall of Man. It's a comic by this man down here. His name is Paul from A.G.E Comics, and the links to the mailing list are in the description, so you can check it out and sign up. Please sign up for Fall of Man and for Renegade Travelers. They are both very interesting stories. Um, and he's the best and the only talent. No, there's other talent in the family.
So if you guys are looking on the mailing page, if you do look, there are some colored pictures down there. That was actually the first colorist that I went with, and it didn't work out. But I wanted you guys to see some color. This is the colorist now that I'm moving forward with. So the whole book will be done by this colorist, and so it's just going to have that very bright, yeah, it like you said, brilliant, right? It's very bright. It pops
Yeah.
off the page. It's you know
Yeah, the light sourcing for this is really good. I really like how the colorist interpreted that because yeah, like you can see here on Ash, you can see like the light, shining off him, and it's really
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, you can see
Casting
it like in
shadows
the
and stuff.
windows behind. Like I think he did really good with
Yeah,
the detail.
yeah, yeah,
And he brought your picture to life there. So I
yeah. I
love
think
it.
so too. He did a really good job with this. Look at that saliva.
Yeah,
Yeah, buddy.
yeah. I don't know about you guys, but even with superpowers, I'd second guess about taking on that guy. I mean, you're as big as his
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome right there. And so yeah, please be sure to sign up. Um, yeah, the links below. And I'm sorry, I read that already. Says hello. She's saying hello to everybody. Awesome colors. Yeah, I didn't do the colors. Another colorist did it. Um, but well, yeah, she's yeah. That's my reaction also when I saw it, because the colors are really, really good. And yes, so you guys will be able to see this on the campaign. Be sure to sign up. And I think I have everything in the description below. Are there any final comments that you like to give the people in the chat, Paul, as we
Um, no, I just I appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully, this will launch mid September is the launch date I have kind of penciled out right now. The book is um, more than a third done right now, and I want to have all of the artwork done and colored before the campaign closes. So that was a big thing too. Is I want to make sure that I can promise you, like, I have the book completed. I'm gonna letter it, so I'll be the last step. Um, and so when you back it, you'll know, okay, it's when campaign closes, that's when I send off for the proofs, and you should be getting it shortly. So I'm going to keep it to a 30-day on Fall of Man, 30-day, so I can turn around quick. If you're around CG, you've been familiar with Eric Canetti and his Arc Athena. He turns that around so quick. He's got the book done, and he gets and many others too. I just I just know he's a bigger name. That's the goal for this. So I won't launch this until I know that I can give you the book when the campaign closes. So
nice, excellent, very good. And also, Paul, if you can, I'm sorry, if you can tell us where we can find you after the show, like where what social medias on you're on,
yeah,
and all that good stuff.
I mostly stick to Twitter at A.G.E Comics. Yeah, that's mainly where I hang out. Like I said, I lurk in the chats as Colin Mazzini. I'll probably change the name as I get more into
Colin.
YouTube, so that I actually people know I'm the same person.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have tied those two names together at all.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, it was an old name. It was a joke from a friend, and I just like I said, I hadn't used YouTube really till this year. So,
exactly,
uh, yeah,
nice. Yeah, so
yeah,
be sure to chat to keep an eye out for Paul. He's going to be in the chat more often, and yeah. So thank you very much, Paul, for coming on today. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us your two projects. I would love to have you back on if it's possible. Maybe after you've launched the campaign, so we can take another look at it and take a look more at the stories and see what else you have to share for us at that time. And
yeah.
and yeah, so my name, everybody in the chat, is Elliot Rodriguez. You can catch me here on this channel because I'll be here. And I'm sorry. Oh man, I'm dying. But yeah, you can catch me on YouTube, on Twitter. I'm mostly on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. I have a Facebook page where you can see some of my art. Um, and yes, and I will have another show on Saturday, and I'll give you more information about that show on Saturday on Twitter, and I'll be sure to let you know. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much to everybody in the chat. Thank you, Paula, once again for coming on.
Thank you for
And
having me. It's great.
that'll excellent. Thank you. And then that'll be it for us. And I will see you guys in the next show. Take care.